Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I just want to take a brief call on the referendum bill, and we're very pleased with the way that it worked out in terms of the discussion that the Select Committee had around how the referendum was to be structured. There was a lot of discussion about the nature of the paper itself and the language that would be on the paper so that it was really understood, and we had it tested through an ESOL process as well so that it was easily understood and simple language is used for those who say don't have English as a second language or who have difficulties with literacy. So there was some good work done on this bill. We're also very pleased to see that there is caps on spending by the various players involved in the referendum campaign, because of course last time we saw the use of extraordinary amounts of money being thrown at an attempt by the same people actually who will attempt to keep to return us to first past the post this time, who fought very hard last time for first past the post and use vast quantities of money to do it. So we're very pleased to see that there's a cap, notwithstanding I know other parties disagree. The issue that we had with the bill, however, was the question of whether at what point MMP would be reviewed. So the provision in the bill as it stands is that if MMP wins the first referendum in 2011, there will be a review of MMP at that point, and it will concern a number of factors, and the bill sets out some of those. And that's good, but there should be. We should continually review our electoral system to look at what is working and what is not. MMP is still comparatively young in this country. We've only had it since 1999, in use since 1999. So it's important to look at it. 96, sorry, to look at it and in light of the experience we've had, what changes need to be made. And the public, when they're asked about it, they have lots of ideas about what could be changed around MMP, and that's an important discussion for us to have. The issue is, if MMP is not, the issue is first, that discussion should have happened before the proposition for a referendum was put forward. The voters, the public, citizens are entitled to have discussion, a structured and resourced discussion around the kind of electoral system that they want. And if MMP was to be put to the vote again, there should have been a chance for the public to have engaged with that, with the current system, its flaws and its benefits, before going to a vote on it at all. And that would have been a way to ensure that our community had the best information available to them and were able to participate in the kind of system that we have. Now, that didn't happen because of some strange electoral promise that it appears National made to somebody, nobody knows who. It came out of the blue that there would be a referendum, so now we've got one. And, it's always up to the public to decide to vote on their electoral system. That's fair enough. However, as I said, the MMP will be reviewed after the 2011 election if it is successful in the referendum. But if it is not, then what we will have during the period 2011 to 2014, and the lead up to a vote between MMP and a new system, what we will have, a runoff between MMP and a new system, is the old form of MMP that hasn't been changed since 1996, compared with a very new system that would have been developed in light of the experience of MMP and in light of different electoral developments internationally as well. It'll be a system that's been devised according to the best practice that we know of at the time. And so it will not be a fair runoff. It will not be a fair runoff. Not only that, but because of the nature of the process for constructing the new system and what it will look like, that information will be made very clear and available to the public. There will be a lot of discussion about what the way that a new system might work, and a lot of public engagement in that process. But there won't be around MMP, around the system that we use now. Because so much focus will be on the new one. So what we will have is a the public discussion around the two different options they will be asked to vote for will be very, very different. The level of knowledge and information available to the public about the two systems that they will have to choose from will be very, very different. And because MMP won't have been, Mr Chair?
Materia Toure.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Because MMP won't have been reviewed, there won't be that same level of public discussion around MMP and how it could be better. And so our view, sir, is that there should be a review of MMP regardless of the outcome of the 2011 referendum, that the public are entitled to have a say and to make changes to the MMP system regardless of the referendum result, so that should MMP not succeed at the next referendum, that the public will have the best choices from which they can make their decision. They will have the most information that is available to them about the benefits and the disadvantages of both systems. And that is only right because this is a system that belongs to the people. This is a system that belongs to citizens, and citizens are entitled to make decisions based on the best possible information. And there will not be that opportunity for our community to have the best possible information, to be able to make a choice between the two best types of systems, because MMP will be the old creaky MMP that we know could do with a little bit of looking at, will be set against this brand new shiny version of something completely different that we don't even know what it will be. So there is a real disincentive here, and I think the government has set up the referendum in such a way to make it more difficult for there to be a proper set of choices put to the electorate in 2014 if MMP does not make it through the 2011 referendum. Now, I know that there's lots of concerns about the nature of this discussion, but in my view, we need to make sure that the public, no matter what we do or how we construct, what our views are about how we construct electoral law, the number one most important thing is that the public have the best access to the best possible information so they can make the best decision in their interests, because this is a system that belongs to them. And I think in constructing the referendum as we have done in this legislation, we have taken from our people, from the community and from citizens, the ability to have access to that best possible information. And that is wrong. We shouldn't be doing that in legislation, and we certainly shouldn't be mucking around with that principle when it comes to the most important question of all, which is not what government do you elect, but how do you go about electing them. That has got to be the most critical constitutional electoral decision that any community is going to make. Not who is elected, but how they are elected. Because what we want in this country is the fairest, most transparent, the most representative system for electing members of Parliament to the Parliament, and therefore represented in the formation of government. Because that is what MMP does. It is a much fairer system than one we have had in the past, and we should always be looking to improve and make fairer and more representative our electoral system, so that the public can have confidence that when they go to the ballot box, that their vote will count, which happens under MMP. You have two votes, both count. That their vote counts, that they are represented in this House of Representatives, first and foremost that their voices will be heard and here by the people whom they most prefer to speak for them, which is what part of the representative democracy is all about. But also that when we make laws about how that process works, we have first and foremost in our minds the need for our people to have a fair system that they can have some faith and trust in. Now, I've already in the previous discussion on the electoral finance law raised concerns about the integrity of our electoral finance system. On this matter, I think there is an issue here too of integrity, that we are not ensuring that we have the most integrity in the system and the process by which we are to choose our electoral system. So I hope that we can... I'm not sure if the Labor party was put up the SOP that they were going to make this change. But I would just want to really highlight for the community that I think this is a real concern, that they will not have the opportunity to make changes and to discuss and consider the MMP system in the same way that they ought to should we not have a successful referendum in 2011. Thank you.
Honourable